Welcome back, everyone. We have another exciting match. Every single match today has just been so absolutely crazy.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah,
pretty much mind-blowing.
There's basically no words for it, right? I mean, it just seems to get better and better, and I don't think we're going to buck that trend with this series. This is two fantastic powerhouse teams. I think this is the first time that I've ever seen Northern Blue not confident that they're going to win the game. They seem so nervous about this, so much so that Waz was even saying, if we win this series, we'll win BlizzCon. This team, this game is, maybe it will define the day for me.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, Sea-Doo, this is potentially his last opportunity to win BlizzCon. Minpoike and Zuniaki have had multiple attempts at it as well. There's a lot on the line for both teams. NG looked like they were shaking almost backstage when we were talking to them. Definitely hoping they can bring the confidence that they've shown in the past.
Yeah, and I mean, these are very well-known players on the team of Northern Gaming Blue. Of course, Minpoike is kind of the glue that keeps that team together, and we've seen him show up at BlizzCons and tournaments all over the place over the years. So having a really veteran player like Minpoike on your team is great to keep your nerves calmed down, but when it's a situation like this and you're playing against such a powerhouse, such a dominant force as Method North America, they've been winning game after game after game and just looking better each time.
Yeah, and one of the things about this tournament and in general, especially since we've moved into Legion, a lot of the players are very experienced, yes, but as rosters, they're very new, very newly created. So this is actually the exception. So we have Method, of course, Sea-Doo and Snuts have been playing together for years and years. Smexen brought into the roster recently been as well, but not as recently as some of the other teams have been formed. Certainly there's that veteran status, there's a lot of synergy there. On Northern Blue as well, Raikou, Waz, and Minpoike certainly were the RMD at the top of the ladder since the beginning of Warlords of Draenor. That's like 2 years, probably more than 2 years that these guys have been dominating the European scene together. Zuniaki as well, he's been here time and time again. 3 BlizzCon finals on him. In fact, funny fact about Northern Blue, they have 6 BlizzCon appearances, and every single time they've got here, they've made it to the final. Let's see if Method can be the ones to buck that trend.
All right, so let's take a look at Northern Blue, the team that we were just talking about. You gotta give it up to these guys. You know, they've been in the scene for a really long time. They're showing that they deserve to be in this semifinals match.
Yeah, these guys are the European champions. They were first in their region, respectively, and they're going to be facing against Method NA, who are also first in their region. So this is definitely a titanic semi-final. One team going home and one team facing Splice tomorrow in the grand final. There's a lot on the line.
Yeah, and Minpoike, as we said, he's kind of like the glue of the team. He's been through so many changes himself. He's such a mature player. He's got so much on the line in this tournament as well. It's going to be fantastic to see how these guys work as a unit. One other thing about them is they have won every single blind pick. We talk about the importance of this blind pick, making sure you predict what the other opponent has. Waz was proudly gloating to me earlier. It's like, we have won every single time the blind pick. They've won every single game won, and they get the momentum from that.
And we talk over and over about how important it is to win on the Grand. So when you have that kind of record under your belt, that's give you a ton of confidence going into this semifinal match. All right, well, let's take a look at the team that they are playing against. We are in the semifinals, Method North America.
Oh man, being the morale booster on his team, he's the one that makes them all stick together like glue. And then of course, Sea-Doo, Snuts, and Smexen back them up with the Demonology, Warlock, Enhancement Shaman, Holy Paladin. It's got them this far in the tournament. Can it get them all the way?
Yeah, there's so many similarities between these rosters. Being, like you say, he's kind of like this new addition, Smex in there as well. Kill, kill, kill. He's just the loudest guy on the stage every single time. So much hype around him. But Bean, as well as we were saying, he's the new member to the roster, kind of similar to Waz in that respect. Waz, of course, he's newly brought up in Warlords of Draenor. It's just these teams are so evenly matched, like in terms of experience. You have the 2 or 3 experienced players on both sides. You have these new, younger people in the roster. And I think that mix, that meld in a composition when you're drafting a roster is just so important.
I mean, I feel like Smexen's the MVP. He's new to the BlizzCon stage. This is the first time he's made it this far, but he's really stepped up his game. He's got Snuts and Sea-Doo, tournament veterans on his side backing up as well, but he's just outshining, to me at least, on Method.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, he's a great player. You know, he's really solidifying his spot on the team as that enhanced shaman. He's a person that in that comp that they're playing, yes, Snuts might have some absolutely crazy bursts that we saw at the end of that Dalaran Sewers match, but he's going to be the guy that's setting up the plays. He's the one to pay attention to. He's the one that's going to be in trouble most of the time also. But intelligent plays always knows when to kite versus going in and spreading damage out.
And he's also the one that saves his team quite often, right? So we had a very close series in last week where Snuts was just the one that was every single time bringing out the fears when it was needed. He was able to shut down, I believe it was Method EU actually in their first series against each other. Every time they were about to land the kill, it was fears onto Frosty, fears onto No Lifer. Very quick, very experienced play from Snuts. And it's great to see that after all these years, he's still bringing out that quality of play. This is his 5th BlizzCon.
5. That's actually insane. Is it the most?
It's the most, yep, the most of any player here. In fact, it's probably the most of anyone ever.
Yeah, I think it is.
Which is insane, and he's still playing. Like, you might think that towards the end of the player's career, it kind of like dies down a little bit, but it's just nothing like that. These guys are looking as good as they ever have been. Sea-Doo as well, playing phenomenally. We've seen last week he was, certainly during the regionals, he was on the Mistweaver Monk a lot. Now we see him on the Holy Paladin, no sign of that Restoration Shaman, but it means he's playing at least 3 healers at the top level. Maybe we can like talk a little bit about why that Holy Paladin is such an important pick for him.
It's just got a strong toolkit of cooldowns that can rotate through. We're taking a look at Northern Blue now on the opposite side, and now looking at Method NA. They're getting ready. They're locking in their blind compositions. We don't know what they're going to be playing. Everything is up to this blind pick. In reality, if you get that counter comp advantage, you can just swing a huge lead from it.
All right, and these teams need your energy, crowd. Let's give it up. Northern Gaming Blue versus Method. This is a semifinals.
And for the second time from an EU team, we see the Restoration Druid coming out of Minpoike. They go back to their roots. Sid's pun from earlier, but it really is that case. They need that offensive pressure. They read that, and now to play the Restoration Druid against this LSD, we'll have to see if it is enough for them to take down Team Method.
Yeah, we can see Waz moving in. He's going to sap up Snuts. He would really like to rotate that over. Rotates it onto Sea-Doo. They open up onto Snuts with the cheap shot, the Garrote, getting those rupture bleeds going onto Snuts. Sea-Doo now caught into a Cyclone. Good control from NG Blue so far, but where's the damage? Finally, some pressure onto Snuts, down to 80%. Raikou and Minpoike taking control of the game so far. Snuts down to half, but Sea-Doo no longer controlled. He's moving in. Bloodlust gets popped. Looking for pressure on Raikou. Huge damage. Temporal Shield pops. They get that off right away. Raikou's taking so much pressure, still down to 50%. Caught in center field, but Waz has saved the day, stunning Smexen into that Cyclone. Nice shutdown from NG.
Yeah, but at the same time, Waz had to commit his Vanish for that. Now he has to pop the Vendetta. He's trying to get some pressure going, but the CC onto Sea-Doo, not enough. The sacrifice on the reshape, well played by him. And this Vendetta and the Vanish used there. That's the offensive cooldowns from the Rogue, and they haven't really achieved anything on the side of Northern Gaming Blue.
Yeah, Northern Gaming Blue, they're committing a lot of cooldowns here, but now they're under fire from overextending. Smexen chopping Raikou apart. He blinks away, but Smexen's still on his tail. Waz getting stunned up by Snuts, but they're still sticking onto him. Raikou not taking too much pressure just yet. Snuts needs to get more soul shards here. He's looking for some fears. Waz looking to interrupt that now. Smexen getting cycloned up. NG Blue looking for a lot of crowd control in this game so far. Cloning up Smexen once again. Snuts caught into a stun, decides to use his human racial to break out of that, but he's still under pressure, down to 50% HP. Dragon's Breath over onto Sea-Doo. Can Raikou follow that up? Doesn't look like they have any follow-up just yet. Sea-Doo pops the Avenger Crusader, but he gets polymorphed on it. Snuts could be in a bit of trouble here. He gets interrupted on the Hand of Gul'dan, down to half HP, but Raikou and Waz just don't have enough pressure to push him over the edge. Sea-Doo caught into another polymorph. Can Minpoike get the clone? Bloodlust gets popped in a reversal onto Raikou. He trades up the Temporal Shield right away to deflect that attack and keep their momentum on Snuts.
And he also purged the Bloodlust instantly from Snuts as well, so he's able to get that damage, and we see the full kidney shot onto Snuts now. Sea-Doo needs to keep him alive. Avenging Crusader, Cyclone low by Minpoike. Well played by him. They get the Dark Pack as well. So many cooldowns being traded out on Method, and they're not really achieving anything against NG Blue.
Yep, Sea-Doo is running out of cooldowns, running out of time. Raikou secures a full polymorph, and now Snuts is on the run once again. Will he be able to survive the assault? They don't keep the chain going. Sea-Doo connects to Bloodstained Protection, protects Snuts for just a global. Raikou spell steals that off right away. Instant spell steal. Smexen trying to get some counter pressure going. Snuts still under fire. Kidney shot to follow it up. Minpoike moving in. He's looking to try and get a Cyclone. Bash onto Sea-Doo. He immediately triggers out to stun Minpoike. Nice reaction from Sea-Doo, but Snuts is still down to half. Sea-Doo needs to deal with it. They make a swap to Minpoike. They punish him for pushing in. He's down to 10%, but Smexen can't stick to him. Minpoike barely escapes.
Minpoike with such an aggressive play there, almost punished by Smexen. He's able to get away. Notice he is playing the Relentless Talon, so if he gets caught up in another stun, he will die. No bark skin available. Waz now taking the brunt of the damage, and again, CC onto Sea-Doo, nothing really doing on the side of Method. You can see the Bloodlust is available for Smexen. Implosion should be up soon for Snuts as well. They're going to have this damage. It's just a question of whether they can get a good connection onto Minpoike.
Well-timed Temporal Shield from Raikou again. He should heal back up here very shortly, as he does. At this point, NG Blue, I would like to see them just run away. They're running out of cooldowns. If Minpoike moves in, he could easily go down. Waz gets stunned behind the pillar, immediately trinkets out to get out of line of sight. Smexen looking for a Hex, maybe trying to bait some interrupts. Sea-Doo needs to try and hard cast some heals. His cooldowns cooldowns don't come up for about 7 more seconds, but NG Blue really have no opportunity here. Minpoike is running out of mana. I feel like NG Blue, they need to pull out, they need to try and reset because Raiku's taking so much damage. Raikou secures the sheep. They're going for the kill onto Snuts, but Snuts is reversing it onto Raikou. Big implosion. Thouskills connect down below 50%. Cedar looking to finish him off as well. Raikou blinking to safety, back to center field. Minpoike dealing with the damage well so far. Now rooting up Smexen, buying Raikou a little bit more time, but there's just so much damage coming out from Method.
But as you can see, every single time they do take this pressure, they slow down the pace of the game. They put the sheeps onto Smexen, they can follow it up with the cyclones. We even saw roots coming out there from Minpoike. They're playing the composition perfectly. Full stun now onto Waz, able to be dispelled by Minpoike. Important dispel there. That could have potentially been it. Now we see the Vendetta coming out. They're making the swap over onto Sea-Doo. He does have the bubble available, but the Avenging Crusader has fallen. Can they get the bubble here? It would be very good for them if they could.
Oh, Snuts is going to clothesline Waz with the Fell Lord. Do they stay in is the question. Nice Dragon's Breath out from Raikou. CC's the entire team. Minpoike is reluctant to push in. Sea-Doo gains across the map to safety, trying to get out of line of sight. Waz shadow steps to Smexen to reconnect. They interrupt the heal on Sea-Doo. He's in a bit of trouble here, down to 50%. Still has bubble. He cannot afford to be interrupted again. Bloodlust gets popped. Smexen trying to turn it around, but Raikou denies it. Sea-Doo still in trouble, down below half, struggling to deal with the pressure. Snuts gets a fear on Minpoike, but there's no counter pressure. Sea-Doo stuns up Waz, buys himself a second. Avenging Crusader comes up, and Sea-Doo will recover.
Beautiful offensive, preemptive cloak there from Waz. He preemptively did it on all the damage from Snuts, and that's how come he was able to survive that onslaught. But now he does not have the cloak, he does not have the trinket. He's very susceptible to one of these stun swaps if Method can set it up.
Yeah, Waz using his Vanish here. He's trying to peel his team. That Vanish is a very long cooldown. He needs to set up something. They need to get the bubble. A stun onto Sea-Doo. Raikou blinks in. Fireballs flying onto Sea-Doo down below half. He's barely keeping his healing going. That Avenging Crusader will be fading shortly. Now down to half. Snuts needs to be peel mode right now. Waz and Raikou are connecting. Sea-Doo down to half. Trades out the Divine Favor. Connects one big heal. I really love Minpoike's positioning. He's just making himself not a target at all by playing in the center field as they chase down Sea-Doo.
Yeah, Minpoike is making it so hard. Of course, Method's goal is to land a stun on Minpoike at the same time as a stun on Waz to get that set up, but they can't do it right now because Minpoike is positioned so far away, and that means NG Blue are able to play offensively. We saw the kidney into the bash on Sea-Doo. He's 30% HP. That Avenging Crusader is now active. He should be able to get some heals. At the same time, Raikou, the fear onto Minpoike. He's dropping low. He still has the temporal though, and the ice block. He should be okay.
Yeah, good positioning from Raikou. Now they see Waz as the overextended member. He actually goes in. He shadow step kicks Sea-Doo. He's trying to wait for that Avenging Crusader to fade. He goes for the kidney shot. They're looking for the bubble onto Sea-Doo. Vendetta gets popped. This should easily be his bubble. Sea-Doo's trying to be greedy. He's trying to get away with it. He's sneaking away so far. Now counter pressure onto Waz. He's gone to a stun, getting bursted down to half. He has cooldowns to trade. He should be sent Sea-Doo in the meantime. Forced to bubble. NG Blue are striking back.
Yeah, that was a huge thing. He used the Divine Purpose. He did everything he could to hold on to the bubble and had to pop it anyway. Sea-Doo now, he has one bop in 10 seconds, but other than that, he has nothing to survive. One more connection from NG Blue could be the game.
Ooh, Waz sneaks a sap onto Sea-Doo. Are they going to set up off that is the question. He's in the open. Doesn't look like Minpoike and Raikou are ready to set up off that as Method begin to try and reset. Waz just sapping the entire team here. Snuts looking maybe to try and reposition. Garrote over onto Smexen, not really accomplishing too much here. Minpoike actually sat down for a drink, which is very critical. His mana is now going to be basically full as we move deeper into dampening. This is going to be quite a long game, but at this point, if I'm Sea-Doo, I'm definitely terrified.
Yeah, I really like that play from NG Blue. They recognize they forced all the cooldowns, the long 5-minute bubble from Sea-Doo, so they go for the drink. Now dampening starting to stack though. This is Method's time to win the game. If they can get the damage onto Raikou or Minpoike, he will not be able to recover. 10% dampening already. Now, they need to get onto the Sea-Doo in the next 2 to 3 minutes. If they don't win this game, that's going to be the clutch point when Method start to turn it on his head. They need to connect to Sea-Doo. They need to get that kill.
They baited the Avenging Crusader out from Sea-Doo. His wings right here. That was his last line of defense. If NG Blue just play this out in attrition Sea-Doo, they might be able to take him down here. Waz is ready. He's primed. Snuts is trying to counter pressure. Raikou moves up. Triple Dragon's Breath. They need to connect that stun onto Sea-Doo. Smexen gets stunned up. Waz trading out the bench. They're looking for the kill right here and now onto Sea-Doo. He gets stunned on his mount. He gets Vortex on the gateway. Sick play from Minpoike. Sea-Doo pops right away to try and recover. He removes the Vendetta immediately. Now counter pressure onto Raikou. He's caught in the stun. Getting bursted down. They're looking for the ice block and they get it. Method strike back.
Yeah, they didn't even use the Bloodlust there. Raikou needs to get topped off. Minpoike needs to get the healing going. But the beautiful play means that there's nothing left on Sea-Doo. He's really, really low. He does have the Avenging Crusader coming up in about 5 seconds, so he should be able to stabilize. And actually, this is where Method starts to turn the game. There's no ice block. There's no Vanish on Waz. They have the potential to end this.
That's a lot of imps. Oh, the imp spading just before Snuts could implode them. Waz is very overextended. He's spending a lot of Minpoike's mana. I guess they just want to make sure he's getting combo points. He's getting ruptures out so his damage is maximized here. Sea-Doo's bubble not available. Bop not available. He has no way to really deal with any pressure other than his Avenging Crusader, which he cannot do if he's stunned. Waz is really trying to get something set up here, but Raikou and Minpoike, they're scared. If they push in at this point, there's no ice block. If they lose the first game, they'll lose the map advantage. The double stuns come out from Method. Waz trinkets out right away to stun Sea-Doo to try and get some counter pressure. Polymorph stuns Snuts, trying to deny his pressure as Smexton pops the Bloodlust over onto Waz. He baits the evasion, now fearing Waz away. Sea-Doo gates to safety, and now at this point, Sea-Doo has nothing to stay alive. The next stun could easily be his life.
And of course, evasion is a very important offensive tool against this Avenging Crusader. It denies all the healing coming out of the Paladin. So now they've used that. That cooldown will always be effective for the next 3 minutes, and I don't think this game's going to last another 3 minutes, so we'll have to see, can they get a connection onto Sea-Doo? Like you say, Raikou is so scared to push in, and this is why every time he does, he drops so low, 60%. The Iron Bar coming out from Minpoike, but he's caught in the stun. Can they follow up with the fear? They do. The hot shot to Raikou is able to trick it out to Temporal Shield preemptively on the DR stun. He should be able to get out of this one. This Fellord comes out, but he will survive.
Yeah, Waz and Raikou, they're trying to stay aggressive on Sea-Doo, but I'm not sure if they can keep the momentum. Bloodlust is coming up in 7 seconds for Smexton. He could easily just smash Raikou. 3 more seconds, 2 more seconds. If Smexton connects, Raikou will just go down. Raikou sees it coming. He polymorphs Smexton. He's trying to stay out of line of sight, trying to stay out of range. Waz, in the meantime, maybe trying to sneak a re-stealth as he shadow steps over to Sea-Doo. Luckily, Sea-Doo's Avenging Crusader is up. He will trade blow for blow with Waz. Waz going for the kill with the kidney shot. Sea-Doo trinkets out of that right away. Vendetta is ticking. Sea-Doo's in trouble, but they pop the Bloodlust on Raikou, and boom, baby! Down NG Blue are going to go. Method take game number 1, but Sea-Doo in a potential cross kill here. He is in quite a bit of danger, but I don't think Waz has enough momentum here to swing it in his favor. Method lead now 1-0.
Yeah, the Vendetta was up, but it was not enough. Raikou falling, and that's what we were saying. The longer the game goes, the higher the chance Method NA win. It looked close. It looked like NG Blue were going to take it similar to the Method EU series, but once you hit 25% dampening, that's the kind of crux point where the Restoration Druid cannot keep up. Minpoike still has mana, but the healing is not there. Raikou falls, and game 1 in favor of Method NA.
That was just unbelievable amount of pressure from Method. They played it out. Waz is still trying his hardest here. Sea-Doo doesn't have cooldowns for about 4 more seconds, but Waz just can't connect. Smaction should be able to finish him off. NG Blue, I appreciate them playing the game out. They want to make sure they've got every edge. They don't want to just give up if there is any potential there, but they do ultimately fall. Method lead 1-0 in the semifinals. 2 more wins, they will advance to the grand finals.
Yeah, such a well-played game from Method NA there. Once again, they're understanding the win conditions. Every time that Method pull back, I feel like Northern Gaming need to be pushing in. They need to be pushing that advantage, especially after forcing the bubble. They went for Minpoike's drink, but like we say, mana wasn't actually the significant factor at the end of that game. Maybe if they'd had that extra minute whilst dampening was still stacking at low amounts, it would have been enough for them to take down Sea-Doo, because he had nothing left for a long period in this game.
Oh, he really didn't, and that's why at the end Waz played it out, because if his team couldn't help him out, Waz could have scored a kill onto Sea-Doo, forcing the 2v2 at that point.
Oh man, another 2v2? You're gonna give me a heart attack, man. No more cross kills. I'm kidding. It's actually the most exciting thing. We had a cross kill earlier today between Tempo Storm and Panda Global. Almost a cross kill there, potentially in the first match. I can't wait to see if Northern Gaming pull out any surprise compositions. They can play some off specs there. They tried to lead with their primary composition, but just not able to finish it off.
All right, let's take a look at that immense amount of damage onto Raikou at the end of that last round, because we knew that deep into dampening it was going to be extremely hard for that Resto Druid to heal through that burst damage. And this, actually, I really liked this moment in the match. This is when they switched onto Minpoike, because Minpoike was playing extremely offensive during the beginning of the match, pushing way up for Cyclones, getting there, dropping the Vortexes down exactly when he needed. But then Method really showed him that you can't do what you want in this match. If you push way up, we're going to punish you for it.
Yeah, it's very important when you play against the Restoration Druid in general, no matter the composition, that you don't let him spam out those Cyclones. That is the big utility, it's the big significant factor that they bring to the team. That's why we see the Restoration Druid over the Holy Paladin from these teams that need to push for the kill. They need to take down the LSD before dampening. So every time they do that, you can see Method NA, they'll be looking for that damage onto Minpoike so that he can't push in. Because once he uses the Buckskin, he wasn't running the Trinket this game, but once they force the Trinket, if he's running it, he can't afford to make that play again, because he will die die. There's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line. NG Blue decided to push in to try and end the game, but Method just reverse it. Bloodlust coming out for Smexen right at that exact moment that he needed it, and they were able to close the match.
I really like that they were swapping targets a lot, too. They would get the evasion out of Waz, and then they would go back onto Minpoike or burst him, and so they just kept moving targets over and over and getting those important cooldowns so that when the stars align and Bloodlust is up and there's lots of imps out from Snuts, they can take advantage of not having those defensive cooldowns.
Yeah, and that was actually a huge thing, the evasion you mentioned. The fact they forced that evasion on the go before the last one where we potentially could have had the cross kill basically meant Sea-Doo stayed alive because he had the Avenging Crusader there. That was the only thing that kept him up. If Waz had his evasion there, then the Avenging Crusader would have done 0 damage, and of course that means 0 healing. So Sea-Doo would have just died. But because they're able to force these cooldowns, they're able to swap around, get the Ice Block, force Raikou to go away, get the evasion, force this Avenging Crusader to be a great cooldown, and of course Totodile and Poike as well. Just all of these factors, all of the play coming out from Method is winning them this game throughout an 8 minutes game.
Now, of course, just about every mage now is going to be playing Shimmer instead of Cold Snap, so they're not going to have those 2 charges of Ice Block. And with Ice Block having a 5-minute cooldown, normally that means if you can force that out of a mage, you can swap to him whenever you want after that point.
Yeah, it's danger time for the mage there, and Raikou ultimately wanted to push for the kill, but because he didn't have Ice Block, having used it with a 5-minute cooldown, he ran out of cooldowns, he couldn't trade anything, when Poike was getting pressured. Basically, Method just spread the resources too thin, and ultimately were able to kill them right when they were striking.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to lead them into a similar conclusion as Method EU, because we can clearly see that both teams are going for a similar kind of strategy here. They're bringing out the Restoration Druid, they're playing those kind of play-to-kill comps very offensively. Channel, Sea-Doo on the Holy Pattern, who's doing a fantastic job, by the way. And if they perhaps continue to think like this, would you expect a small map coming out of them?
Well, we actually will find out the map right now
perfect.
from Method EU. It is their selection since they are down 1, and no, we're seeing a large map. So I have a feeling we're going to be seeing probably the same.
Maybe. I mean, we might even see the God Comp. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Zunyaki. Yep. We saw some very close games from Method EU, especially the game on Tolvaron. Easily could have been a cross kill, I think, if I remember it correctly. Again, we've had so many cross kills in this tournament, it's hard to keep track of them all. But it's going to be interesting to see if Northern Gaming have the confidence to say, we are the better God Comp, we're the team that can take down Method.
Yeah, and I mean, Method just had a huge warm-up against it, so I'm wondering if this is even the right move.
We'll have to see.
I don't know.
See what they think.
It's a tough choice, and you know, when you're down to the semi-final moment, and you have some teams that have been constantly playing these comps, they kind of have found the answer to the comps that are doing very well in this Legion meta so far. You know, we see a lot of fast teams like Splice just choosing the Beast Cleaves, you know, really wanting those enhanced Shaman damage to shine. And then you have these slower pace teams such as Northern Gaming Blue that's going to be running that God Comp, that Shadow Priest, Frost Mage, you know, and or they can switch it up and play that Rogue Mage Druid if they need to.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Northern Gaming, suddenly from their Warlords of Draenor play, they want to be that fast-paced team. They want to be the ones always going, always in, fast-paced. They pride themselves on it, the fact that they're not cooldown dependent, but because of how Method's playing, they have to always respect the damage coming out of Snuts, but especially Smexen. Every time that Bloodlust, it's a 1-minute cooldown. Every single time it comes up, there is a definite potential for the kill, and if they overextend too much, they will just die to it.
Yeah, Raikou needs to be careful. He needs to make sure that he always has a blink, a safety blink, basically, so that he can escape, and he can use 1 blink to go in, as he is running the double blink talent. So as long as he's saving one of those, he should be able to easily escape. Unfortunately, at the end, they just blown cooldowns across everyone on the board. They had nothing to answer it, and that's how Method closed the game. So it's well played from Method to spread that damage out, make sure that they're not tunneling one target too much, make sure they can put everyone behind so they can always swap.
One thing I'm curious about, so we talk a little bit about the experienced players versus the slightly newer players. Waz is certainly a newer player, very confident. We talk about that a lot. Sometimes it will work in his favor, sometimes it won't. I don't think we've actually seen him behind in a series like this in quite the same way. Sure, the European final, but they'd already achieved their goal of reaching BlizzCon. Here, they're up against it. They're 1-0 down. If they lose the next 2 games, they are eliminated from the entire competition. Do you think that could have like a mental effect on Waz, given it's his first tournament?
I really do, especially because how important that first map is. So when you are down, not only numerical score-wise, but also comp advantage-wise, should it go to a game 5, that's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
It could be maybe a bit of a tilt factoring. This is the first time Waz has been on the BlizzCon stage. Meanwhile, Zunyaki, Raikou, and Minpoike, they're veterans. They've been here before. They can handle the stress. And I mean, maybe with that, they should substitute in the Shadow Priest, Frost Mage composition. It was looking reasonably well earlier with Method EU. Maybe they can execute it better.
Yeah, and they'll bring a different flavor to it, certainly. Whether it's better or worse is something that they have to be seen. But maybe at 1-0 down, they're not too concerned. Maybe they'll carry on with this Rogue Mage. It's a very strong composition. Throughout time, we've seen this. But the question is, do they make the swap now, or do they kind of give it another game? I feel like that game was very close. Maybe with a little bit more offensive play, they can secure it, especially Tolvaron. Whilst it's a very big map, the pillars are very big as well, so it's quite difficult for Sea-Doo to maybe LOS Raikou on the map.
Yeah, but they're going to overextend in the same way. It's like a double-edged sword between both of the teams. Do you overextend that far? Waz was really far positioned inside Method the whole game. Maybe that put them too far behind. He had to trade cooldowns because of it. So I feel like if NG Blue are going to retreat at all, that they should all commit to that retreat. That way they don't overuse cooldowns.
Yep, I have to agree, but the question is, if you all retreat, Method will never follow you. They'll wait until 30% dampening. And well, actually, they will follow you. They'll follow you at 30% dampening, like we saw even Sea-Doo gating in against Method EU. But they're doing a very good job of not getting frustrated. It's easy to get frustrated against Rogue Mage. There's a lot of CC, a lot of tanky classes there. And they're just doing such a good job of choosing the right opportunities to do damage and go for the kill.
I really liked all the kiting out of Method NA, especially those gateway choices by Sea-Doo. Of course, we did have that amazing stop on the gateway with the Ursul's Vortex from Mimpoike during that. But the gateway game on this map is so much more different. Not only will you can't make it from pillar to pillar, you also have to get around the pillars at that point. So yes, you might be able to get away, but you're going to have a rogue stuck to you the whole time once that happens.
Yeah, and we talk about the mages, they're all playing Shimmer. That means they're very mobile as well. So on these bigger maps, sure, the Holy Paladin can do the freedom. He can get his Divine Steed, maybe even gate away. But assuming Raiku's doing a good job of holding onto his Shimmers, he should be able to just blink across the map and catch up instantly. Waz, of course, he's a rogue, so he has the Shadow Step. He also has Sprint, various ways of reaching his target. Assassination, maybe not so much as others, but still, he should always be able to reach it.
Now that we know the map, why don't we take a look at what comp Method NA has locked in. This is a tense moment. I have a feeling they're going to run the same.
Yep.
And there we go.
No surprises there.
They've been doing such a great job with this comp. You know, Smexon knows Enhancement Shaman in and out. Snuts picked out Demonology Warlock in the last couple months of stuff and starting to bring practice in. And of course, Sea-Doo on Holy Paladin, even though he hasn't been putting as many hours into Holy Paladins as someone as, you know, such as Botar or Rubcub, for example, I think he can hang with all of them.
Yeah, for sure. And he's had a whole week. I mean, last week he looked very strong on his Holy Paladin. He's had an entire week to practice it. I think they're pretty sure that they're not going to use the Restoration Shaman. Seemingly, the Holy Paladin is just going to be the best choice for them in this thing. And the fact that they're able to play maybe 1 or 2 compositions always is such an advantage for them because it just means they have less to worry about. They're always going to be practicing those comps, and that means they can really hit that skill cap when it's most needed.
Now, do you think that Northern Blue are going to lock in Poike on Druid? I think we're about to find out here. Northern Blue are going to lock in their composition now to answer Method NAs, and they're going to go with the RMD once again. They want to stay with that bread and butter. They're not going to bring Zuniaki in. They don't feel confident with it, I guess, as this would maybe be the best map for it.
Yeah, I'm curious how the matchup would change if Raikou was on a Frost Mage, just because, of course, there's a lot more burst. It might match maybe the Assassinations, offensive cooldowns with the Vendetta slightly better, but at the same time, Fire, lots of uptime, has a damage reduction of around about 10% from its artifact as well, so just generally a more tanky composition. I certainly respect this choice.
Yeah, and since you're playing Shimmer anyway, you have a artifact trait that heals you when you blinks with Cauterize and Blink, so you're just overall tanky. Yes, they can go on you, you know, when they want to, because, you know, that enhanced demo damage is just absolutely massive. But you have a Temporal Shield, you have that Ice Block, so he's not always a good viable kill target.
No, he's definitely not, and even in the previous match, I feel like Fire Mage and Assassin Rogue would probably be their best option for going after a healer, going after Sea-Doo and taking him down, whereas a Frost Mage is going to get line of sighted, it's going to be hard, he's going to have to build up his damage, there's no consistent pressure, Raikou has to stand still quite often, so I feel like Fire is probably their optimal choice in this matchup. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, and we're going to load up into game. You can see Waz there, you can see Sea-Doo, 2 of the most key players in this matchup. We're in game 2, Tolvaron Arena. Let's see how the opener goes for NG Blue. Of course, the Rogue Mage with the double stealth at the start is crucial that they're able to land that sap and get the good opener probably onto Sea-Doo.
All right, the gates have opened. Of course, Method are going to secure a defensive position there. Snuts will set up his gateway as Northern Gaming Blue. They're in stealth. They're crossing the middle of the map. They're looking for a sneak attack. Raikou moving over to the far left. Waz on the far right, trying to split up their aggression so they do not get popped out of stealth. Waz moving in now with the sprint, looking for the sap. Sap's up Sea-Doo. Who are they going to open on? I think they want Snuts, but Snuts is just running away on his mount. They find him. They've got him caught into the cheap shot. Sea-Doo now into the Cyclone. Good control from NG, but once again, just lacking that damage.
Yeah, I feel like to kill Snuts, they really need to get some damage on the pad. We'll see if Sea-Doo is doing a good job of healing it up. We see the sacrifice already preemptively on the bash, so good play from him. That might actually encourage Northern Gaming to swap over onto Sea-Doo though, so if that happens, it might be an unintended consequence of this play.
Bloodlust popped out from Smexen over onto Raikou. Raikou's temporal shield has already been traded out. He's in danger. He blinks back to safety. Waz now pushing in. Smexen trying to deflect that, trying to force Waz away. Waz is getting held back for now. He's not able to chase Snuts down. He actually trades out his Vanish here to set up some stuns. The Vortex is down from Minpoiki. He wants to lock the enemy team in place. Sea-Doo getting gripped back. Waz trying to keep the aggression on Snuts. Sea-Doo now getting cloned up. Smexen looking for a Hex to stop the assault. Not quite able to find it just yet. Waz still maybe even swapping over to the pet, but he gets rooted. Unable to connect here at the moment. Raikou down to half. Fellowlord gets dropped, but it's not really too useful there. I guess they're just trying to force Waz back. He's trying to dodge in and out. Raikou looking for some polymorphs here, chaining it onto Sea-Doo. Snuts is still hiding behind that Fellowlord for right now. Sea-Doo finally out of crowd control. Minpoiki not able to get in line of sight. Raikou getting bursted down. No block. He's down to 5%. Barely hangs onto it. Balls of steel. I cannot believe that. That was so greedy up for Raikou.
That was so close to a down goes moment, but now that he's held onto that block, it could be crucial. They need to push in and get the CC onto Sea-Doo now. A full sheep, unfortunately, actually a DR sheep, mistiming by Raikou, and that means that Snuts is going to be completely fine to get out of this one. He should be okay as well. We see Minpoiki turning out the Tranquility, and you can see there is Bloodlust and stuff available on Smexen, but he's only really popping it when Northern Gaming push in, because he knows he can force the blink away from Raikou, and once he forces that, it puts Sea-Doo under so much less pressure. It just makes it so much easier for Method to survive.
All right, Bloodlust is available for Smexen. Snuts has a lot of imps in the center of the battlefield. They're forcing Waz back. Waz and Raikou need to be careful with this position. They're going to stun Raikou. They launch the attack onto Raikou, getting bursted down with a stun over on Minpoiki. Raikou in danger, still down below 50%. He activates the temporal shield. If they can somehow get that off, they might be able to kill him, but they actually swap targets now over to Waz. They've got him down to about half HP. Sea-Doo getting polymorphed up, but there's no pressure. There's just no damage, and Waz is in danger. He needs to trade some cooldowns here. Implosion connect. Waz is in trouble. He pops the evasion so late here. Cloak of Shadows used now as well. He's trying to counter aggression with the Vendetta over onto Snuts. Sea-Doo should be able to deal with this quite effectively if he chooses so. He's not going to have to trade out that Blessing of Protection, and Method squeak ahead.
Yeah, Waz really wanted to hold on to that evasion. Like I say, it's a very important offensive cooldown for Northern Gaming, but they had to trade it out. Now we see the double stuns onto Minpoiki. They're trying to do a swap over to him, but they don't have too much damage available. Not trading out that Buckskin. Double Dragon's Breath. Well played from Raikou. Actually followed up into the sheep. We see Minpoiki taking a bit of damage, but he blinks away. He should be okay. Snuts under a bit of pressure as well, but Sea-Doo's out of the CC, and he should be able to top him off.
Yep, Sea-Doo is no longer crowd controlled. He's throwing out some damage onto Raikou. Raikou's been holding onto that ice block as long as he can so he can use it to stay aggressive, but he's still in trouble. Minpoiki sees that, trades out the Iron Bark to deflect some damage. Waz using his Vanish here. He's trying to set up some pressure. There's a bit of damage over onto Snuts, but no CC on Sea-Doo. Raikou blinks in, looks for the Polymorph, gets shut down by Smexen once again, follows it up with the Dragon's Breath. Double stuns out from Method, denying this offensive push. Raikou's trying to pull back. Bloodlust gets popped. They're looking for the kill onto Raikou. He temporal shields immediately on the Bloodlust. Smexen's trying to purge that off. I don't think they're able to find it. They're just going to have to wait. In the meantime, Snuts is getting pressured. He's forced to trade out his shield. He gets cloned up at low HP by Minpoiki, but there's no CC. They follow it up with a half yard sheep over onto Sea-Doo. Snuts still down at about half, but he's out of line of sight. He's in the clear. Raikou trying to find a target. Waz steps in. Sea-Doo getting vortexed back, but there's no crowd control for Sea-Doo. At this point, he should be able to deal with this Vendetta quite easily. He could just bop this off. I guess he's trying to hold on to it for an aggressive push later.
Yeah, he trades out the sacrifice. That's a good trade from Sea-Doo. It means the Vendetta will not be doing too much, and they can't land CC onto Snuts. Any sheep will, of course, break. We'll see if they swap over Sea-Doo a little bit here. It just looks like they're not ever wanting to swap over to him too much. We see him dropping low, but that's mainly from the sacrifice and, of course, from some of those Light of the Martyr heals, just sacrificing a bit of his own health for Snuts's.
Yep, Sea-Doo still at half. Snuts trying to get away from Raikou. Sea-Doo getting stunned up. He will stun Minpoiki to deny any CC. Dispel Smexen immediately on the Polymorph. Waz using that Cloak of Shadows aggressively, maybe trying to immune an incoming stun. Raikou secures the sheep. Sea-Doo bubbles right away. He knows that Snuts is in danger right now. Snuts down to half. Sea-Doo needs to spam. Heal through the pressure. Minpoiki tries to clone him at low HP. Smexen denies it. He looks for the clone once again. Bloodlust get popped by Smexen. He's looking for a solo kill on Raikou, but he gets sheeped up in the nick of time. Raikou spell steals that Bloodlust, setting up some fireballs, even maybe onto Sea-Doo. Snuts is still trying to res his pet. He gets kicked by Waz. They may choose to use the gateway here to evacuate. This is looking dangerous for Sea-Doo and Snuts.
He finally gets that pet back. He was trying to get that summon for 30 plus seconds. They were doing everything they could to stop it. Now he has it. He should be far more tanky, and Raikou in so much trouble. Blinks away. He has the temporal available. Ice block still as well if he wants to use it. No Bloodlust pop there by Smexen. Just an insane number of procs. He actually opts the gate away there, Smexen, so maybe playing a little bit more defensive. We see they've now reached that critical mash, dampening his stacking. This is the time where Method just need to survive maybe 3-4 more minutes, and then they'll be in the lead. They'll be in that position they've wanted to be every single game.
Yeah, Method stay together as a unit. None of them overextend. They want to make sure that they're all supporting each other for when NG Blue launches their assault. They've got Waz down to half, and this is what was happening last game. Waz is just opting to be the front line, but he's just taking so much damage for free. He trades out his Vanish. He's looking to initiate a fight here. Silence onto Snuts. The Vortex catches everybody inside of it. So Mexen trying to counter pressure Waz still at the same time. There's no control on Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo's actually pushing up. They look for the stun onto Raikou. He trinkets right away to blink to safety. Stun over onto Minpoike. There's a lot of imps on the battlefield. Snuts could look for that implosion play here shortly onto Raikou. Smexen going after Waz and trying to force him back. Minpoike blinks in. Triple Dragon's Breath out from Raikou. He's looking for the Polymorph. He gets the Polymorph over onto Sea-Doo. It actually ends up breaking, unfortunately, to the AoE damage of the Assassination Rogue. So it's going to trigger them to swap onto Sea-Doo. They've got him down to half. He trades out the Blessing of Protection. He should be all right here with the Avenging Crusader as that Bloodlust comes up in about 33 more seconds. Raikou needs to be careful.
Yeah, since the Snuts had to drop low earlier because his pet died, he had to trade out the bubble. There he had to trade out the bop as well. Raikou having to trade out his block now. So little defensive cooldowns available on either team. I would love to see a swap over onto Sea-Doo. Look at his defensive cooldowns. No bubble, no bop. Avenging Crusader will shortly fall. This could be NG Blue's opportunity to take the game.
Yeah, they definitely need to try and take that opportunity. Of course, they're not playing with add-ons. They might not know that Sea-Doo is completely exposed here. Waz getting feared up by Snuts. Method are trying to push them back here. Raikou looking for some defensive polymorphs. Sniper 5. Bloodlust gets popped. They're trying to make a swap to Minpoike. He gets stunned up with no bark skin. What is this damage? Method are going to 2-0 NG Blue here. They're looking for a cross kill on Snuts. He pops in and he resolve, but he will survive. So much damage out of nowhere, catching Minpoike completely off guard.
Minpoike even preemptively blinked away from that stun, but he still got caught up. Smexen able to connect with the procs. No bark skin, and this is what we were talking about. The risk of pushing in without those defensive cooldowns for NG Blue. They thought they were getting ahead, but Smexen with the punish. 2-0 to Method NA.
It's actually insane. They're one game away from locking themselves into the championship final to face Splice. Method NA must be feeling awesome right now.
I will say, I gotta give it to NG Blue for stopping Snuts from summoning that pet. The Bloodlust, when we called out that, oh, he's going for a solo kill, I think he lusted Snuts so Snuts could try to get a pet off. He was in a casting circle. Waz was waiting until the very last millisecond of his casting bar to stun him, and it happened over and over and over. And without that soul link, you know, Demonology Warlock you can kill pretty easily.
Yeah, and that's what cost Sea-Doo the bubble. It was such great coordination from Northern Gaming Blue because, of course, you don't have that many interrupts in the game in Legion. So if you're overlapping them, you're never going to be able to stop that pet summon. We saw like the kick, and then the casting circle came out, and Kidney at the end of the cast, then Dragon's Breath at the end of the cast, and then kick was back up once casting circle expired. Beautiful play out of Northern Blue, but it was not enough. Despite forcing that bubble, they couldn't find the opportunity to secure the kill, and that's what we've seen time and time again against Method NA. Every single time they run out of cooldowns, they're able to LOS around the pillar. They always find a way to survive, and eventually they find the opportunity to secure the win.
And it was a really scary moment. We called out onto Sea-Doo towards the end of the match. He used just about everything. He had to use the bop earlier, and again they forced the Divine Shield. That Avenging Crusader was fading, so he was definitely a good target they could have swapped onto.
Yeah, to emphasize this even further, this is the last opportunity for NG Blue. If they lose this next match, they will be going home, and Method NA will advance to the final. There's a lot on the line. They need to win 3 in a row. Can they even do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult. You have to wonder if they're going to bring out a different composition now. They've tried the RMD. That's kind of the bread and butter composition. They've tried it 2 times now. It hasn't paid off either time, despite having these really close games. I feel like at this point, you have to swap it over. Maybe they'll try the God Comp after seeing Method EU with such close games.
All right, now let's take a look at a replay from that last match on Tolveron Arena. And we'll see this moment. It does look like, yep, when they were going to go. And look at how fast this swap was.
Yeah, and then Minpoike tried to blink away, but they just caught him with the stun exactly when he blinked. He was not able to get to safety. It was a good swap by Method, and Minpoike was seconds away from surviving.
And that's what this comp can do to just about any target. If you're playing against a Demonology Warlock, yeah, you can let one Hand of Gul'dan go down, but when you see a second strong Hand of Gul'dan and you see a second set of 5 imps, that's normally what Demonology Warlocks are going to be trying to fish for, that second set. If you watch Snuts closely and you watch his cast bar, he'll always try to cast 2 Hand of Gul'dans in a row, and that's because of Soul Conduit. I do believe that's a talent name, where you have a 20% chance every time you spend a Soul Shard to refund it. So you can cast an entire Hand of Gul'dan and get 5 back and be able to cast a second one right away.
Yeah, and because of all these mechanics, that basically the result is that you just have more burst, right? This is the reason that we saw when Method EU played against this team. We saw Chaz and we saw Frosty always running the PvP trinket. Here, Minpoike is using Relentless. I have to maybe question that decision because it means when the bark skin is down, I mean, sure, his bark skin was like 3 seconds away from coming back up there. He was so close to surviving. But since he's playing Relentless, it's not always going to be enough to save him. It's much better, in my opinion, against these super bursty compositions to have that PvP trinket, know that reliably you can break out of that stun. You have 2 defensive cooldowns, but now Minpoike is up against the wall. If he dies one more time like that, then it's going to be game, match, series, and BlizzCon lives for Northern Gaming.
All right, so let's take a look at what map that Northern Gaming Blue has selected for what could be the last round.
Whoa.
Ruins of Lordaeron.
Risky pick here from NG Blue. I'm wondering if they're going to play a different composition. Maybe they're going to switch up their playstyle here and look for a rushdown.
And notice how their strategy evolves in exactly the same way as Method use. It's like they start on Aggran and they're like, okay, we need a bigger map to kill CD. Okay, we need a smaller map to kill CD, but ultimately, so far, nothing has worked. We'll have to see if it's slightly different here. Maybe they will swap up the composition. I saw they had a fantastic Godcog game against Splice in the European finals where they were just kind of chasing Swapsy. They have so much potential on this map to run people down. They might even try something more cleavy. We saw the DK Rogue out of them. That could be another option. Just to tunnel down CD, they have to try something because right now, they've got their tournament lives on the line.
So now that Ruins of Lordaeron has been selected, Method has to select their comp. And let's see what they picked, because this is a big deal now that this is a small map. I would only assume that they're going to stick to this comp because it's been doing so well.
I don't think you change what's not broken at this point. Seedu locking in the Holy Paladin, Snuts locking in the Demonology Warlock, and Smexen locking the Enhancement Shaman. Once again, leading 2-0 in the series. NG Blue, do they have an answer?
Yeah, that's the question. I think this is we're not surprised by this. The same composition coming out of Method NA. The big exciting moment for us is going to be if Northern Gaming decide to bring out another composition. We know that Splice, one of the things they've been trying against Method and just these LSPs in general, has been the Beast Cleave. I don't think that Northern Gaming have that available, but they do have plenitude of other compositions that we've already seen them bring out. They have the confidence in them. Just do they think any of them have a higher chance against this?
All right, let's take a look at what this comp on what could be the most deciding match of the day. Northern Gaming Blue currently down 2-0, and there we go.
Zuniaki. We don't get to see him very much, but you definitely need to remember the name. He's going to be stepping in on Shadow Priest, their last line of defense.
Yeah, you can't let Zuniaki go down without giving him a game. He has reached every single BlizzCon final when he's come to this competition. He's got 3 second places. There's no way that he would allow the semifinals to end without making an appearance. He's going to go down fighting, or he's not going to go down at all. We'll have to see as we draw up into this game. But I'm wondering, they're playing such a small map as a double caster thing. Generally, the double casters would be perhaps preferred on 12-1 Arena. We saw Method EU come very close on that map as well. So this is a very risky map choice for this composition.
I think they're starting to realize that pillars are their enemy. Every time Seedu and Smexen can run around the pillar, they're not having fun. They just can't get anything done, so they pick the map that doesn't really have a pillar. So this could ultimately be a really smart decision, actually.
Yeah, it could for sure. The only thing that I have to say is that Seedu's doing such a great job with the Avenging Crusader. Maybe on a bigger map they can try pull him away. We saw Method EU, one of the problems was the pet, but we're loading into potentially the last game of Northern Gaming's lives. Method looking to put the final blow on Ruins of Lordaeron, nail them into the grave. We'll have to see, can they pull out the victory? Who are they going to put as their main target during this game?
Ruins of Lordaeron, a fitting final resting place as it is a cemetery. Let's see if NG Blue can pull this series back. They're charging to the tomb. Method will meet them as well. Smexen looking to find his target. Imagine he'll go after Zuniaki. He's the most forward position. Minpoike looking for a Cyclone from stealth. He does get interrupted right away. Good shutdown. Bloodlust gets popped. They're looking for an early kill on Zuniaki. He sees it coming. He should be able to survive. He does get stunned up. However, Smexen now looking for a Hex. Minpoike gets stunned. Zuniaki still getting bursted down. Still below 50%. Method's aggression is insane.
Yeah, but they do get the preemptive Iron Bark. Well played by Minpoike. He would definitely force the dispersion if not for that. The triple fear, not quite enough, but they got CC onto Seedu and not able to do too much of fear to follow it up from Zuniaki. Well played, but he's not getting topped off. He's really struggling. That's 20%. Has to trade out the dispersion. So much damage from Method.
That was not even Bloodlust from Smexen. This is Danger Town for Zuniaki. Minpoike barely able to top him off, but Method are looking to close the match. Zuniaki gets stunned up. He's still dangerously low. He cannot escape Smexen. Method will blow him out of the water and advancing to the grand finals 3-0.
Beautiful play from Method. They just realized they had, of course we've been talking about them surviving to damping, but they understand the win conditions. They realized Zuniaki overextended, Minpoike unable to use the heals, already traded out the Iron Bark, and Amazing damage coming out from Smex, and this guy is on fire. We have the kind of the Smex connects, and then Zuniaki goes down.
Well, even when it wasn't Bloodlust, yes, he didn't have that extra haste, but he had Sea-Doo behind him, swinging that hammer with the Avenging Crusader, dumping the damage out.
They did it. They're in the final. Only one more series. This is the opportunity that Sea-Doo has been waiting, which almost seems like a lifetime to accomplish, and he's one more series away.
You know, it's the incredible coincidence about this BlizzCon finals. Snuts picks up Demonology Warlock right at the end. You remember Mystic Pandaria, the first tournament?
Yep.
Picks up Demonology, smashing those Chaos Waves in, and they ended up winning.
Every time Snut swaps over to that Demonology spec, it seems to work out for them. And this is the closest Sea-Doo has ever got to winning a BlizzCon. As far as I remember, he's only ever reached the semifinals in the past. So he's already closer. This is his last chance to win it. He said it himself. He wants this so much. And we're going to have to wait till tomorrow, unfortunately, to see this kind of climax, the best of 7 grand final of BlizzCon to decide, will he fulfill that destiny or will it be a 0-4 kind of thing for Sea-Doo?
And they have to fight the reigning champions in the final.
Could not ask
Could
for
not
a better
be better.
series.
EU versus NA, reigning champions against former champions, all this experience, and you can see the fan favorites now.
Yeah.
They're getting ready for that interview. I'm so happy for these guys.
That was an insane series. Method and A are going to crush the competition and advance to the finals. I'm sure they're feeling extremely confident after that match, but now they need an answer for Splice. Splice took them down in opening week. This is the vengeance train for Sea-Doo. Can he find a way?
All right, so let's take a look at the last few moments of that match. Because it was so short, here we go. We have the replay, and this is the damage that we were talking about.
Yeah, and you see they forced the dispersion here, and they've already used the Fear DRs onto Minpoike, so it looks like Zuniaki should just be fine here. You can see the dispersion healing him up. He's about 100% HP, but they land one Hodge, smacks him with so many procs, no offensive cooldowns needed. He just has so much damage, despite a Vampiric Brace, despite all of this. Zuniaki falls, and Method take the series 3-0.
And he was still playing Relentless at that point.
Yep, and you have to wonder, like in those situations, when you're playing the Restoration Druid, you don't have all those safety nets that the Holy Paladin has with the bubble, with the bops, etc. Maybe the PvP Trinket would have been a better choice, but at the end of the day, the series is over now. I don't know if it would have been enough to convert the entire series, so you can't put too much criticism there.
All right, I want to hear from the men themselves. All right, Jackson is on the stage with Method.
Thank you so much, Jared. Sea-Doo. You guys kicked some serious butt. All you guys did great. You know, got one question for Sea-Doo, but before that, I got to ask Smexon, how did you figure out how to execute people on a Shaman? How did you transfer that ability to your new class? It's pretty amazing.
I just yell kill.
Sounds good to me. All right, one question for Sea-Doo. So you guys are on the path. This is exactly where you want to be. There's been a lot of storybook, talk about this is finally the BlizzCon for you. You guys are right at the precipice. I hope you feel good. You guys have been looking good. Just, any words for us out here?
I mean, we're feeling great. We haven't lost a single game on the main stage yet, but I think that's probably going to change tomorrow. We got a hard team. It's been the only team that's actually beaten us in the series so far, so we got to work hard, and we just got to play better than them.
Well, you guys looked great in that match. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. We're going to send it back to the desk. Take it away, Jared.
All right, thank you very much, guys. You gotta look how happy these teams are. They know they have so many fans rooting for them at home and here, pretty much packed with Method fans.
Yeah, it's kind of like the fan favorites against the BlizzCon champions tomorrow. It's going to be an amazing best of 7. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, Method have shown good offense, good defense, good team play. They're looking to synergize really well moving into the grand final. And of course, Splice as well as that 3-man roster, though, that could ultimately hold them back.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll wrap up the end of the day for you guys.